So there's this Louis Theroux interview, which I think is really interesting. In this interview, he talks about how he hasn't been the best friend and he could have supported the people around him a lot better.
They might say, be like, oh yeah, Louis is a good guy. I hope they would say that. But they'd also might say like he's a little bit absent, like he's a little bit. I don't feel I'm an especially attentive or present friend. Some people are really gifted at friendship. Like they like really they're there and they think about and they make arrangements, and I don't make really. I'm not very good at social arrangements. All these sort of boring things that are the qualities that are really the stuff of life.
One of my struggles growing up was the fact that exploring the way I felt was seen as a point of weakness. When me and my brother, when we were growing up, we would fight a lot, sometimes physically and then verbally. In school, if there was any kid that was, seen as weak or didn't really speak up for themselves, they were called gay, they were bullied, it's typical adolescent school behaviour. I don't know if it has changed at all. And this turned me into quite a quiet kid that felt like I couldn't, open my mouth or be true to how I felt, because that means I would have to get into fights or I'd just get picked on. But I'm also quiet nowadays. I'll probably say I'm a bit more of an ambivert, but I still do have introverted tendencies. Most people think I'm an extrovert because of how I talk, but I actually kind of go between two extremes at once. And sometimes the balance is hard. Personally, I want to find out about people's natures, make people laugh and go on silly adventures, all that sort of stuff. But the problem is I sometimes just don't have the energy to carry on that positive rapport with people. It just doesn't exist sometimes. And it just gets a bit difficult. And sometimes I'm just so tired that even having a conversation with someone is using that extra brain power that I just don't have in that moment. And then talking to people just feels like a chore. But what I have actually realized is that there are pluses to leaning towards introversion in your life. Now, to start, it gives you quiet confidence. One thing that actually dominates my philosophy is that actions matter more than words. Like when I speak to people about starting a YouTube channel, and most people speak to me, they're like, oh my God, I've always wanted to create YouTube videos. I really want to start doing it. They'd always talk this big game out, all the things they'll do. Maybe they'll go to lifestyle, maybe they'll go to fitness, whatever it might be. And they never actually end up starting it. And that's the thing, is that the one thing that will give you confidence in anything is knowing that you commit to things and you honor your word in doing them. When you know that you say you're going to do something, that you know that it's going to at least get started, and at the very best it's going to get finished. And with the very foundations of discipline, it's kind of like being able to walk around everywhere and look people in the eye and know that you've fought every tooth and nail to get your goals completed for that very day. Rather than actively just being social or just focusing on gossip, you're trying to further aspects of your life. Another hidden advantage is listening. Now, it's very widely known that introverts have very little energy when maintaining conversations. For example, when I speak to my work colleagues, sometimes when he's talking to me, I'm just really quiet and he just thinks that I'm zoning out and he's like, come on, you still there, sort of thing. It's just, the thing is that I'm considering what he is saying more than what I could be saying. I'm paying attention to him quite a lot. I'm always considering what someone else is saying more than what I would actually be saying myself, because I don't think that's a good way to have a conversation. And with introverts, we selectively look for themes, topics that indicate how somebody is feeling. We're paying attention as much as possible because we're trying to extract as much meaning from this conversation with this person. And when we're talking to somebody, we want to have closure on that conversation. So what's really irritating is when you've got somebody from nowhere that just comes up and interrupts the conversation, just segues what you've been talking about. I can't tell you how annoying and frustrating that is. It's one of my pet peeves, because this person that interrupts does not see my investment in this conversation I'm currently having. Yeah, it is really annoying. Yeah, being an introvert just generally makes you a better conversational partner and a good listener. And to finish off this video, the last point is going to be about focus. Now, there's this really interesting moment on Chris Williams' podcast. I believe he's interviewing David Lade. And it's really interesting because they're having a conversation about changing deep-rooted beliefs and principles about certain things. David makes a quick statement, and my God, it's so nice to hear from someone why leaning into introversion just works.
This is why I think introversion is such a cheat code, because the more frequently and the more for a sustained period of time I'm involved in certain just patterns of behavior, oftentimes socially or just what I do in general, you just become locked in those patterns and it becomes more difficult. You have more of like a narrow perspective. So for me, a lot of like the best insights that I've gotten are like times when I like completely just like fully detached and just enter this weird like meditative just like flow state of just being just so just alone.
Yeah, and very well said. It sounds kind of controversial, but I do think that people are a distraction. Like, for example, I used to go to this hotel with my best mate Matt every Sunday, and what we do, we go to like the table pods by the bar, we'd put our laptops there, we get our sort of notepads out, and we start planning for the week and doing any outstanding work that we had available. So the first 15 minutes, we actually spend like catching up and having a general chit chat. After that, we actually spend 45 minutes working, but then we order food. Maybe someone we know comes up to the table and just starts chatting to us. You get the idea. The whole process of us actually being able to focus gets derailed like almost entirely. And in the book, Deep Work by Cal Newport, he suggested that human beings only have 4 hours worth of concentrated focus time per day. And any activity that takes place outside of these hours is going to be lower quality. You're going to be more likely to be distracted and you won't be working as intensely. And I think that is the thing, is that introverts are very comfortable with their own company. They're less likely going to be prone to distractions because they're not going to be wanting to call their best friend every 5 minutes. And this is why I think introverts have a hidden advantage, because they're able to like cut out all of the distractions and focus on what matters. This is something that I think extroverts should take into consideration as well. And also, nothing against you, Matt, nothing personal. You're an absolute diamond. Anyway, guys, if you like this, comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.